So after we made our last tutorial about how to make a basic minimap, I have been asked to make a system like the game Bloodstained, where you have to enter a place to get more info on your map. So in this tutorial we will make a system that looks fairly the same and with pretty easy methods. So let's get into that. So here I have the same project that I used in the last tutorial. The only two differences is that here I've set some cubes, and I've changed the player icon from a quad to a sprite renderer so that we can use ordered in layer to have more control on our minimap, as you will see that when we finish our system in this tutorial. So first we're going to our map, change texture type from default to sprite, and for now just hit apply. Move the sprite to the map, reset its position, change the rotation of the x-axis to 90, and I'll just scale it so it match up with our environment, and then change the layer from default to icons. So now if I hit play, and you can see that our minimap matches with our scene very well. But this isn't what we exactly want. We want to display the map's info depending on if we saw that place or not. So if we were in that place before or not. So in order to make that, we will have to make some changes in our minimap. So we'll go to the sprite, change sprite mode from single to multiple so that we can cut it. We'll go to the sprite editor, hit apply, and as you can see I've set it every room individually, but I'll show you how to make that. We'll go to the slice, change the type from automatic to grid by cell count, then go to columns and rows, choose 2 columns and 2 rows, then hit slice. You can see that we have 2 columns and of course 2 rows, and that match up with our number of rooms. So now all we have to do is put every room in its right size here in the sprite editor, and I'll do that really quick. So now after we have set our rooms so that they match up with our slices, all we have to do is hit apply, and then we'll go to Unity again, and you can see here that we have a sprite for each individual room. So now we will delete our full minimap, and we will put each individual room in its place, hit reset, rotate it in the x-axis, and we'll put it in its place, and I'll do that with the other rooms. So now after we have set every room in its place, we will also have to change the layer from default to icons. So now it's time for some scripting. We are going to give the player icon a collider, and whenever it enters one of these sprites, it's just going to enable it. So here we'll add a box collider, set it to is trigger, and then we are going to add a rigid body, enable is kinematic, and disable use gravity. And the reason why we use rigid body is because we will have to access in the script the is trigger enter, and it doesn't work without a rigid body. Also, the player icon is a collider that moves around the map, and whenever you have a collider that doesn't stay in its place for the whole game, you will always have to make it rigid body, otherwise it will cause some performance. And of course we will add a collider in the other sprites, box collider, and set it to is trigger, and we are not here going to add a rest body because they are not moving, but you can see that by adding a lot of box colliders to our sprites, it will affect our performance already. So in order to decrease that, we will go to edit, project settings, and go to the physics. So here in layer collision matrix, we will make sure that the icons don't interact with other objects than themselves, so the icons will just collide with other icons, but it will not affected by anything else. This is also a good practice, since you always need to change collision matrix in every game so that you can save performance. So now we'll go out of the project settings, and we will just disable our sprite render by decreasing the alpha value to 0, so that they are not shown in the minimap, and we are going to show them when the player enters them, as we have seen in the first of the video. And finally, we're going to add our script and call it MiniMap show, and then open it up in Visual Studio. So first we're going to delete everything here because we don't need them for now, and we'll make a new void on trigger enter. We'll make a sprite renderer and call it sprite renderer, and that will equal to other dot get component sprite renderer, so that we can access our color alpha value. Next we will make sprite renderer dot color dot alpha value equal to 1, and as you can see here, we can't access our color dot alpha value for the sprite renderer. I don't really know why in Unity you can't do that, and the best way to do that in this case is make a new color, call it color, and that will equal to our sprite renderer dot color. Then we'll change our color dot alpha to 1, and then all we have to do is give our sprite color our new color. So I have made a new color and make it equal to the sprite renderer's color, change the color's alpha value to 1, and then give back the color to our sprite renderer. So now if I save this, go to Unity, and make sure that our player icon is in the same y-axis as the other minimap sprites, so all of them is in the 0 y-axis, while the player icon is in -y. So we'll give them all a -y, give back our player icon to the player, and then hit play. So our first room showed up in the map, the second room showed up, the third room showed up when we entered it, and also the fourth room. But we can make that even better by changing the alpha value smoothly from 0 to 1 instead of just putting it in the 1 immediately. So in order to make that, we'll go to Visual Studio again. So instead of using void on trigger enter, we'll change the void to enumerator, and enumerator will give us the chance to make a while loop. So here under the color we'll make a while loop while sprite renderer dot color dot alpha is less than 0.95 f. We will do the next. Our color dot alpha will equal mathf dot lerp from the color dot alpha to 1, and that's in time the delta time multiplied by 3. Next, the sprite renderer dot color will equal to our color, then yield return null. And what does yield return null do is instead of making all of this in the same frame, just go to the next frame and continue our lerp function until the alpha value is more than 0.95, and we don't need this anymore. So now if I save this, go to Unity, hit play, and you can see that now the rooms show up in a slow motion. And in my opinion, this is better than our last way of doing this. And for now everything works just fine, but we have here a problem. If for example our player were dragged up in the y-axis, so it's in a higher place than the usual, it's not in the ground, you can see that the icon will not interact with other sprites in order to make them visible. And in order to fix that, we'll go to our sprites, see in which y-axis they are, and go to our script, make a new void, update, and the update we're going to change our icon's position to match up with the player X and Z axis, but to make the y-axis all the same. And we'll have to have a reference for our player, so public transform player, then transform the position, and that's our icon's position, will equal to new vector3 player the position dot x, and the y-axis that we've seen later is -1f, and player dot position dot z. And this solution is only for 3D games. In 2D you don't need to do that, since all the layers are in the same place, especially in games like Bloodstained. So now if I save that, go to Unity. First we'll drag our reference for the player, and then if I change the icon position, no matter how much I change it, if I hit play now, you can see that the player icon get back to its place, and everything works just fine. And it's also a good practice to change the order and layer here in the player for something like 10 in order to make it render first, no matter if it's below or above the icon. It doesn't matter. If it's in higher order and layer, it will just render first. And that's it guys for this video. If you have any question, let me know in the comments. Other than that, I'll see you on the next video.